All right, welcome to another Wisco Fanatics Wednesday. We got Mike with us because we got 3 Badgers games to talk about this week. So we're going to start with Badgers this week. Real quick, as we start, I want to give a shout out to Wisco Ball for making merch for us. So if you want to get a Wisco Fanatics t-shirt, you can do that over there. He's going to be having really soon a new Buck Yeah shirt coming out. So it says Buck Yeah, and then it's got antlers coming up the sides. It's a sweet looking shirt. I can't wait for it. Honestly, I'm really excited to get some, because he's going to have them in a couple of different colors. So I'm really excited for that. So I want to give him a thanks for making merch for the show. Now, 3 Bucks games, 3 Badger games, and we're in like kind of a weird spot with the Badgers, and I want to get your guys' thoughts on it. So let's start with some power pairs and some underrated performers. Jake, give me your power pair and your underrated performer from the Badgers, and then I'll give mine, and we will jump into Penn State.
All right. So for my power pair, I went with Chucky and I went with Connor Essegian. These were pretty, straightforward choices in my opinion. Chucky averaged 13 points, 3 rebounds. He had a couple assists this week. He didn't shoot the ball particularly well, but I'll tell you something that he never shies away from, and that's defense. He always finds a way to get the clutch steal. He never shies away from a matchup on defense. And on and off the floor, he's a leader. So that's part of the reason, especially a team going through a tough transition like this, hearing all the noise from the outside, having a guy like Chucky Hepburn who can just, put the horse blinders on the rest of the team and kind of keep everybody focused is a really, really good thing. And I think people are taking that for granted, in my opinion. And then Connor Essegian, the kid's just getting better every game. He's had a really, really good freshman year, despite however this year ends. Connor Essegian has been a bright spot, no matter what you say. He's getting better at finishing inside. Once he gets a little bit better at those timely three-pointers, not that he hasn't hit some timely three-pointers, but like just on a more consistent basis. Like there was a couple last night where he was wide open, and all the fire guard people, you just shut the hell up after seeing that beautiful play he drew from an out of bounds, by the way, because that was a wide open shot for your best shooter. And, you're not just going to pull a coach off the street and he's going to be able to draw that play up. So just wanted to throw that out there. My underrated performer is a guy that shouldn't be on this portion, but he is a little bit. His name is Tyler Wall. And part of the reason that I wanted to give him credit is all the offensive rebounds that he was getting. He ended up getting 8 offensive rebounds over a 3-game span. That's a little over 2.5 per game. He also averaged 9.7 rebounds, 4 assists. He didn't shoot the ball particularly well either, but the Badgers as a whole have been struggling to shoot the ball at times this year. Lots of long drops. But if they can button that up a little bit, this team could be dangerous because the field this year I feel like is wide open. I don't know if you guys agree with me, but I mean, there's a couple teams at the top, maybe 3-4 teams that you can name that are like they're the clear favorites. After that, it's just a straight up shit show. And I don't care what you say. I mean, a Marquette team that is just killing everybody lost to this Badgers team this year. Just this year, they lost to us. So, you could take that for what it is. They should have beat a Kansas team who a lot of people put in that power 4. We could have beat a Kansas team who's dominant and the defending champions. I mean, there's a lot of ifs in there, I guess, but I just think that the Badgers are better than their record.
I would agree with that. I had the same power pair. I have Connor Essegian and Chucky Hepburn, and you kind of touched on it already, but he scored 19 twice, and then last game he only scored 2 points, but he closed the game for the Badgers defensively. So, you can say what you will about his offensive struggles and, who you want to put blame on for the end of the games, and we'll get into some of that stuff, but he closed the game defensively last night against Michigan. For me, for underrated performer, I put in Carter Gilmore almost exclusively because of his effort against Hunter Dickinson last night. So I'm just going to leave that as a little tidbit, and we'll get back into that when we get into these individual games. But we got 3 Badger games, and we're in a really kind of a weird spot in a state of flux with the Badgers. And that's why we brought Mike back. He's our Badger guy. We like to have him on when we talk Badgers. But we're in kind of a weird spot, and there's a lot going on, not just on the floor, but obviously off the floor. So let's start with Penn State and discuss a Badgers overtime win, and we'll go from there. So, Mike, welcome to the show again. What stood out to you from the Penn State game last Wednesday?
Well, guys, thanks for having me on again. It's always great. Uh, as you kind of said, this has been kind of an unorthodox season, but even talking at the beginning of the year, we kind of figured we're maybe not exactly what this record was right now, but we definitely were hesitant on, saying, hey, we're going to win conference again this year. So it's kind of it's definitely a
I think we
weirder
all have the
season.
Badgers either 19 or 20 or 21 wins. I think we were all in that
Yeah.
19, 20, 21. Because I know I
Yeah.
had 19. I think you might have had 20 and Jake had 21 or vice versa, but we were all right in that 19 to 21 range.
It was it was really, really close. Yeah, right around that area. So, going into this game, first off, I'm a huge I've watched Penn State enough. They are a good team. I think they are also better than what their record shows. I think Jaden Pickett's an absolute stud. He's going to be on the first team Big Ten team this year. So he dominated us in the first time around. The stat that caught my eye going into the game was Penn State was 11-2 at home. So that definitely worried me quite a bit, especially with trying to win on the road in the Big Ten. That's one of the hardest freaking things to do in this conference. So going into it, I was a little skeptical, but then again, with every team that we play in the Big Ten, maybe with exception of Minnesota, I am very, very, very worried because there's always positives and negatives with what can go wrong and what can't go wrong. But I guess this is a welcome back game for Tyler Wall for me. Behind closed doors, within my head, he's been, I wouldn't say being disappointing since his ankle injury, but he's definitely, he's trying to get back to where he used to be, right? And I think this was his first, comeback game since that ankle injury. 16 points, 8 assists, 6 boards. That's one hell of a stat line. So he was the one guy that stood out to me in this game. And this is also one of those rare games this year where we scored over 70 to win a game, because lately it's been, maybe get to 60, that 60 to 65 range, and, hold on for dear life. So, yeah. And one thing that really caught my eye too, which I kind of applaud us for, because our shooting was needed tonight, and, our 3-point, or not tonight, but that night, and our 3-point shooting was a little bit better collectively. Penn State's a 3-point shooting team too. We got down 3 with, I think it was around 3:25 left, and we stood our ground after being down 3, and we eventually climbed into overtime and got the win. But Penn State in that stretch when we were up, they shot 6 of 8 from 3 in that second half. When teams go on runs like that, that's really, really hard to overcome. And whether it was T-Wall making a big play down low, or Connor and Chucky making big threes for us, it was a good team win. There was a lot of other positives too. I'll let you guys touch base on, but I would say the biggest thing was overcoming Penn State's 3-point shooting in the second half when they made it when they went on that huge run, 6 of 8 from 3, to have them go ahead and then have us overcome that to eventually get the overtime win. That was good. And there's plenty of other stuff we can talk about this game, but that was one of the big positives that I took from that.
That's a good call out. That 6 of 8 for 3 in the second half. For me, this game signaled to me a different brand of Badger basketball than what we've seen over the last about 6 weeks. This signaled the beginning of a change for me. And when we talked last Wednesday, Jake and I did, about things we'd like to see the Badgers improve, or things that we think could help the Badgers improve. One of the things that I wanted to see was when Steven Crowell gets the ball down low, and the Badgers were going to the post early in this game, was for Steven Crowell to just keep his composure and look for cross-court passes when they're there. And lo and behold, early in this game, Steven Crowell hits a cross-court pass to Connor Esigian, and he drains a 3. And I'm like, thank you for making me look smart, Steven Crowell, for saying that that's something the Badgers should do, because they did it and it worked. So made me look smart. So thank you for that, Steven Crowell. Shortly after that, Jordan Davis hit just a beautiful step back 3. And I heard the stat last night. Did you guys know that Jordan Davis is shooting the 4th highest 3-point percentage in the Big Ten?
Really? What? That I would be. You sure about that, or has it been in like the last 3 to 4 games?
They
Maybe.
said it on the broadcast last night. So if I'm wrong, blame
Man.
Robbie Hummel and his Purdue education.
I'm gonna look that up with Robbie Hummel because 4th highest, that seems a little high, but I think it might be in the last 3 to 4 games because he has been
You know what?
consistent with that.
I'll
But,
just
I mean,
I'm
either
just
way,
put up. Fuck it.
yeah, I'd be very, very intrigued
pull it
by
up while I
that if that
keep
was the
talking.
case.
So
That's wild.
I noticed in this game too, and this doesn't surprise me at all, but seeing Connor Seaton shooting with confidence, I do appreciate seeing that. It's not something that I think he's ever going to struggle with, is him shooting with confidence, but I do think it makes a difference. Just believing that your shot's going to go in, it makes a difference. So Connor Seaton, he's getting better defensively, but I'm not going to go so far as to say he's a good defender. That's not where we're at with him yet, but he has a similar amount of work to do as Marjan Beauchamp when it comes to getting better defensively, and it's not using hands. They're both very handsy defenders, and they both need to work on that. But we get into the second half. Chucky Hepburn scores 5 quick points right out of the gate. Chucky Hepburn only had 3 points in the first half. He finished with 19. So he scored 16 points in the second half in overtime. James giving us credit for the win last night against the Celtics. The other thing with this game too is more offensive movement. That was the other thing that really stood out to me, was the offense was moving and not just, the 1 or 2 guys that were working the ball action. So that was that. Tyler Wall, like you said, playing better. And I think we were all so ready to declare that Tyler Wall was back that we didn't give him the benefit of the doubt of he might have just had one good game, but still isn't 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a rush because everybody is so excited to call him back that we didn't get, we didn't give him the benefit of the doubt of maybe he just had one good game and we still need to be patient with him. So I did want to bring that up as a possible thing. Connor Seaton and Stephen Crowell both had had their third fouls with over 13 minutes left in the game. Penn State was in the bonus at the 12-minute mark. And then Max Klesmit got his third foul after that. So the Badgers played a big chunk of this game in foul trouble. And I want to bring this up because it's a thing, and we've seen this with Drew Holiday at times, is that when guys are playing with foul trouble, they will give up easier shots.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fact. Like, guys are going to get easier shots when they're worried about getting fouls. So this game flip-flopped a lot towards the end of the second half. And Jake, last week you asked who the Badgers drive to the basket guy is going to be, because we know who it is with the Bucks. It's Grayson Allen. I think Max Klesmit is that guy.
And he fits that role, so I'm 100% on board with that.
He's definitely showing the flashes, no doubt about it.
Yeah. So with 6 minutes and 26 seconds left, there's a lot of similarities between the two teams with the last 6 minutes of this game to go. Field goal percentage, points in the paint, threes, turnovers. Penn State went on a 7-0 run. They had the lead with 4 minutes and 14 seconds left. Chucky Hepburn hit a super deep three. A minute later, got the lead back. Then the game was tied with 3 minutes. Penn State went up by 2 with 2 minutes left. 13 seconds later, the game was tied. And then we saw Tyler Wall take a three-pointer. And I have no problem with Tyler Wall shooting an open shot. But, like, his hesitation and then his feet not being set, like, Tyler, they're going to leave you open. Just take a rhythm dribble and shoot it while you're feeling comfortable instead of shooting an awkward shot. That's my only complaint about the play. I have no problem with him shooting the shot. Just take a rhythm dribble and get your feet set is the only thing. Chucky Hepburn hit a super tough three with 33 seconds left. Game was tied at 23 seconds. So it was a tough shot that Lundy hit to tie the game. And there's nothing you can do about that. And, I've said it a whole bunch of times, like, good offense beats good defense every time. I'm going to sing a different tune when we get to the Bucks and Celtics game last night. But that's for a different reason. We get into overtime. Connor Essegian, hit a super deep three to give the Badgers a 4-point lead, and then committed a bad turnover. And when it comes to situations like this, where Connor Essegian makes a freshman error, a bad turnover, instead of, and I know this is something it's super easy to do, is to just go, come on, Connor, and I want to yell and scream at him, like, how could you fuck that up? But what I'm hoping for Connor Essegian is that this turns into a learning moment for him. That's what I want. And I'm sure when we get into stuff with Greg Gard, after we talk about the Nebraska game and all the meetings and the film that they did on Sunday, you can see the things being different in last night's game. So, I just want to make sure that, Max Klesman is ready for that pass when he's posting up, and then make that a bounce pass and not a chest pass.
Yeah.
That's ultimately what caused that. And that was what caused that late turnover. And then, like I said, Max Klesman, being that driving guy, had a drive and a score with 1 second left on the shot clock. Max Klesman, he was really, really close to being my underrated performer as well. Badgers were 3 for 4 from the free throw line in the final 24 seconds. Something, again, we'll bring up when we get into last night's game. Did you guys know that 5 different Badgers scored in overtime?
Oh, wow.
That's a wild stat. Holy cow. Yeah. I mean, especially since we're, for the most part anyway, like 7 deep, that definitely, a test. Yeah. That definitely says something too.
So the Badgers, credit to them for not giving up. Greg Gard did say after the game that he wasn't shy about saying that he needed more from Tyler Wall, or that the games that they're playing in are must-win games. So Greg Gard is not, he's not blind to, to the situation that they're in, to the reality of the situation that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
Badgers shot 52.8% from the field in this game. That is their highest field goal percentage of the season. And the points they scored in this game were the most since that December 3rd game against Marquette, when they scored 80. And it took overtime, but it is what it is. Tyler Wall, like Mike said, he got that 16 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists. Those 8 assists, a career high for Tyler Wall. And then he also had a steal and a block. Connor Essegian scored 18 points on 9 shots.
Yes, he did.
That's extremely efficient from him. And then speaking of efficiency, Steven Crowell scored 11 points. He was 5 for 5 from the field, had 8 rebounds and 4 assists. Chucky, like I mentioned, of his 19 points, 16 were in the second half in overtime. Jordan Davis had 8 points and 5 rebounds. And the Badgers had 16 assists. That was their most since January 23rd. So really just, aside from going into overtime, which, it is what it is because Penn State made a tough shot, it was a pretty solid game by the Badgers. So, Jake, what stood out to you from this game that I didn't talk about in the last 10 minutes that I spent talking the entire time?
Well, not much left for me to say. But what I am going to say is, I'm going to touch on Mike's point of winning on the road, and it's tough, especially against a team, Penn State, that swept Illinois this year, by the way. And we got swept by Illinois. So think about that triangle of love that's going on there. They swept us, we swept them, So Penn State definitely, they shoot a lot of threes, like Mike said as well. I was checking my notes every time Mike was talking. I was like, are you going to leave anything for me to talk about?
My bad.
You're good, bro. I like that we're thinking the same thing. They do shoot the 3 ball a lot. I forgot what game. I was just sitting on my couch one day, and I forgot who they were playing, but I was tuning in. I was like, Jesus Christ, man, they're hooking up the 3 balls. But they shoot 3 ball well, and they have a superstar. They're kind of built like the Badgers of last year. Except we didn't shoot the 3 ball well. They just had a superstar guy that could take over, and then a couple other guys that just add in when necessary. But Penn State's a good team, man. And when we get into the Nebraska game, I think Nebraska's better than their record too, to be honest with you. The last couple of weeks, they've been playing
night.
Yeah. They've been playing really good basketball the last couple of weeks, man.
I think they've won 3 out of the last 4.
Yeah, and they beat Rutgers. They beat Rutgers last night in Rutgers. That's a tough place to play. A lot of Big Ten teams don't win there since they've come over to the Big Ten. So big-time win for them as well. But the one thing that I do take away from this game, and Mike said it was a welcome back T-Wall game for him. Well, that was the exact quote from Greg Gard when he went into the locker room. He goes in there. He says 16 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists. Welcome back, Tyler Wall. And then, the whole place just erupted, and I was like, oh, man, that is so nice. That has to feel so good for him. But I do think that he is scared of re-rolling that ankle. I still think that he's playing a little bit softer, especially on the offensive end. When I saw him miss that layup last night, I was like, oh, he is so psychologically not in it right now. That should have been a dunk. He should have went up and yammed that. Like, I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
You're 6'9". That's got to be a dunk. You're a D1 college athlete. I'm sorry. But I think he is a little scared of re-rolling it. But that's a mental block that he's going to have to get over if this Badgers team is going to get to the next level that we all expect them to be at. So that's all I have to say about that. But he did play well in this game, and it was definitely a big win. It just sucks that they can't stack the wins, you know? Like, the one we lost was to Nebraska. When I looked at the schedule, I was like, oh, gee, well, that's the win. Where's the other win? I wanted 2 out of 3, you know? And then that's the one we lose.
Right.
Doesn't make any sense, man.
Yeah, that's what I had as well. I had the Badgers losing to Michigan. So I had the record right, just not the game. So let's go to that Nebraska game. Jake, you can talk first on this one. What stood out to you from the Badgers in Nebraska?
First of all, this was definitely a tale of two halves. I don't need to go into any further explanation if you watch this game. First half, we're shooting the ball really well. We got the swag. We're showing off to the crowd. Hey, I just hit a 3-bomb. I mean, we're walking around like our shit doesn't stink. And then second half, man, God, what is his name? What is the little lefty shooting guard Nebraska?
Tominaga.
Oh, my God, that guy is just a straight-up hooper. Straight up. When I watch him play, I'm like, that guy's a hooper. That guy thinks about basketball all day long.
Like a tiny little microwave.
Bro, dude. And when he was going at it with Klesmit, and he hit the 3, and this was a scenario in the game. Klesmit came down and he got a tough layup, and I was like, all right, Max isn't backing down. I like that. All of a sudden he comes down and they call foul. Max was trying to fight over a screen, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
It's getting ticky-tacky out here, right? And you could feel Nebraska building that momentum. And the sad thing about this Badgers team, really sad thing, is even when they're up double digits, it kind of feels inevitable that the other team is going to get back into the game. And we might lose. A lot of times we win close games because we're actually really, really good in single-digit, games. But I felt Nebraska, when they got that foul, and then immediately after that he gets another 3-pointer. I was like, oh shit, because I was feeding my daughter. And I turned the TV and I'm watching, and I'm dumping all the macaroni on her because the game's getting good, and all of a sudden I feel that they call timeout, and I'm like, God damn it, we let them back in it, because it was just a mentality thing. And from that point on, Nebraska kind of took over. I don't remember the big man's name on Nebraska either. I think he was like number 15 or whatever, but
Walker.
Yeah, it might be him. He had a hell of a game, dude. Yeah. And they were really good when he was on the floor, really bad when he was off the floor.
He left it all out there. Like and I can't even, I'm not even mad at it. Like, the dude plays with tons of effort. Like, I respect that from him.
Yep.
So I definitely respect that guy.
I'm not mad at all at Nebraska for this game. I'm not going to say I'm mad at the Badgers for this game. It's just kind of expected, and that makes me kind of sad. I guess that's how I'll leave that.
Mike, what stood out to you from the Nebraska game?
Well, Jake said a tale of two halves. I literally wrote down Jekyll and Hyde as a summary of this game. We had one hell of a start. And I think, or was it like one example was Klesmit, I think, had 10 of his 12 points in the first half, or like, and those 10 points were literally right in the beginning of the game. Like, it was like
10 of the first 20, and I'm like, all right, cool. Max Klesmit's going to have a new career high today because his career high is 13, and he didn't.
Yeah, unfortunately, but there's a lot of things. Unfortunately, I did write a lot of negativity down on this one because it was bad. But I think the one glaring statistic, the one glaring statistic
over your shoulder.
Yeah,
that's what we do.
The one glaring statistic that I really, really did not like about this game, we only had 6 layup attempts, and I guess I'm going to throw out another one. We only had 6 free throw attempts this whole game, and one guy shot those free throws on our team. That was Tyler Wall. So as far as being aggressive and getting to the hoop, towards the end of the game, even when the game was tied or even close to it, we were in double bonus. We could not take advantage of that once to get to the free throw line. And I'm transitioning towards, okay, the late game situation, going back to what the hell we should be doing in these situations rather than taking step back threes. We should be going to the hoop, make the refs make a call, and get to the free throw line. But it's not just that. I mean, not just those situations. Not getting to the free throw line, I think, was a huge, huge problem. And I do think, this was a matchup in which I think we definitely could have had the opportunities to do so. But with just not getting to the free throw line at all, besides T-Wall, I guess, in the second half, and only having like those 6 layup attempts to right under the bucket, that doesn't really drive a recipe for success in my view. Yes, we got outscored by 27 in the second half. It is what it is. I mean, Tominaga, he just shot lights out. And honestly, they just made adjustments in the first half into the second half with how they want to screen for him to get him open. And, Klesmit, like Jake said, he got a foul and it got a little ticky-tacky. So I think that got in his head a little bit. But, I mean, the dude was just feeling himself and just hit some big, big shots and not only got his team back into it, but got the crowd back into the game. And once you get both parties back into it, it's, tough to win at a Big Ten arena. So just late game execution and, the lack of free throw attempts and, those attempts underneath the bucket. I was a little upset by that. So, we definitely need to shake.
How bad the whole team is at free throws. And it's weird because the Badgers they've done a 180 in the last year. Last year, they were a terrible three-point shooting team and a great free throw shooting team. And this year, it's the opposite. The Badgers are a pretty good three-point shooting team and just like 60% on free throws.
They're horrid at the free throw line.
I said this to you guys in a group chat. With the exception of a season, sometimes it's just like watching Ethan Happ shoot free throws every time. That's how nervous I am when this team shoots free throws, unfortunately. There's not one guy we can really count on besides the CJ, in my view, based off of like our track record this year, that can make both free throws, that has the capability of doing that. Chucky, I guess once in a while. Klesmit, we did see last night.
Capability. It's just
execute. Okay, it said execution. Then we'll just say player execution. Yeah, that's a better way to put it. We just haven't seen that as much this year, and unfortunately, it has costed us enough games, like probably at least 2 to 3, that would comfortably put us into the tournament now at this point if we can just execute on that. So I guess player execution has been a big problem with this team, which leads to us being somewhat just average at the end of the day, because in those situations, that's with those opportunities you have to execute. So I'm just looking for us to get to the free throw line more. We can't just have one guy do it himself from there, but with that comes execution as well. So Tyler, I'll send it over to you.
You tiptoed right around something that I've said before, and I'm going to say it again now. And I'm not saying it's bad to phrase it the way that you did when you say execution has been a problem for this team, but we kind of touched on it at the beginning of the show too. Is just flip the perspective on it. So you're looking at, this is what's the problem with the team. And then you look at the beginning of the season and you say, look what they did against Kansas and look what they did against USC. And it's like the execution isn't there, but it's been there from this same group of players. Now, there's about an equal sample size of where the Badgers were very good and got to 14th in the country. And then we have a sample size that's been pretty bad where they lost, 6 of 7 at one point. And, they're kind of rebounding now a little bit with a 2-1 week, but the sample sizes are about the same. So if you take recency bias out of it, we really don't know which team could show up for the Badgers. It's one that could beat Kansas or it's one that could lose to Nebraska. But the opportunity exists for that team that can beat Kansas to show up at any point during the rest of the season, especially if Tyler Wall is healthy. So just that, that flip in, the problem is a lack of execution if this team executes, they can win every game on their schedule. and they've shown that they're capable of it by technically should have beat number 3 Kansas earlier in the year. So that's just a thing that I really want to be able to convey, that perspective shift is something that can really just change the mindset of Badgers fans, especially the way that it's going right now. It's just that shift in perspective. It can really for me, it makes me feel like it's easier to breathe almost just by having that shift in perspective, by not feeling all that tension that it's like, hey, they're capable, they can do it. But just putting yourself in the mindset of, well, they haven't done it lately, so they probably can't do it at all. So it doesn't really pay to act like they can win against Michigan. That's how I really felt a lot of the fan base felt. And I saw examples of it in groups of people saying, well, Hunter Dickinson's going to eat Stephen Crowell alive and stuff like that, just because of the perspective that people have and the perspective that they choose to focus on.
Yeah, it's just soft fans that look for negative stuff to talk about. Honestly,
It's easier.
They just look at it. It's a lot of what have you done for me lately?
Yeah,
Literally within the last 24 hours. So a lot of fair weather fans out there for sure. And we've obviously talked about this before with and it does exist everywhere in college sports, but just having that toxic fan base and trying to look past that as much as possible. Yes, I'm negative sometimes too myself, but I really, really try to take it into perspective as much as I can. But no, it's a lot. A lot of it is a lot of these fans are, what have you done for me lately? Unfortunately, sometimes, and no, that's just perspective. Unfortunately,
well, let me come to your defense real quick, and I'm sure Tyler will agree with this too. You said you get negative sometimes. In the moment, I don't count that. Because in the moment, you're just letting the emotions of the game come to you, right? So I do the same thing. I'll be watching the game, say it's the Bucks game like last night. They had a couple turnovers. They took a couple bad shots. And I'm like, you jackasses, get your heads out of your asses. And it's just like I get in that competitive mode. And then I take a step back after the game and I'm reading about the game, what writers are saying, and I'm looking at the stats and I'm thinking about stuff and I'm thinking like, all right, well, there was this situation, and then they got thrown. The Celtics changed their defense to a zone. So I mean, just making that quick decision in that amount of time is tough. It's not easy to just make those decisions like that. But it's easy for us to sit on the couch and be like, "Stop turning the ball over." You know what I mean? Like it's frustrating to watch, but you also have to think about the situations they're in. Giannis plays 12 straight minutes, and now they're double teaming him. And he doesn't have the same amount of shooters on the floor as he did, the last 5 minutes. I mean, you got to put yourself in those kind of situations. So being in the moment and being negative and then choosing to, portray your negativity because the team lost. Like I saw so many stupid comments on the post of the Badgers posting the Nebraska loss. Like people are like, Badgers should be embarrassed. Like, what are you talking about, dude?
Like I saw people being like, oh, be lucky to have a home game in the NIT. It's like, the season's not over.
Oh, my God.
Here's the thing, and this is going to piggyback off what you just said, is that you can have the negative thoughts. Nobody is immune to it. And that's not like for the Wisco Fanatics show. We're not trying to make people immune to negativity. Just trying to shift the focus. So when you have a negative thought, like if you listen to people that study this shit for a living, they will tell you, just recognizing it is the first step to it. You can recognize the negative thought and choose to not subscribe to it and program it into your mind to always think that way. Because when you have the negative thoughts and then you give energy to it, your brain's going to be like, oh yeah, here's other examples of when shit was really shitty.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that it's never going to be perfect, but it's something you work towards. It can make sports more enjoyable. And that's really what Jake and I want to do, is to make sports more enjoyable. And not only that, but be able to, give thoughts, ideas, perspectives that you can also then apply the same things to life. So going into the Nebraska game, now that we've gotten all philosophical on you for the last couple of minutes, going into the Nebraska game, Max Klesmit scored the Badgers' first 5 points. He scored 10 of their first 20. Badgers got off to a 3 of 5 start from the 3-point line. The game was tied at 10, and then the Badgers rattled off a 12-2 run, and then Nebraska rattled off a 9-0 run, which Connor Essegian ended. I want to give credit to Jordan Davis for defending well when Connor Essegian got 2 early fouls in this game. Badgers again hitting those cross-court passes. The Badgers were 6 of 12 on threes in the first half. So just again, to say what Jake and Mike both said, tale of two halves here. So Crowell got a layup, and Connor Essegian got a 3 to start the second half. Nebraska didn't hit 30 points until the 16 mark of the second half. So 16 minutes left in the game. Nebraska just got over 30. So the Badgers were digging in defensively. Nebraska was missing shots, which, law of averages dictate that the shots will start to go in. And getting to 30 kicked off a 14-2 run by Nebraska. And, we get into, 20-2. The run got as big as 20-2 by Nebraska. And then we saw Tyler Wall slowing down. And the Badgers' ball movement got better, led to Chucky Hepburn hitting a 3 to get the lead back. Tie game at 6:58. Tie game at 5 minutes and 10 seconds. And then we got to a point where Nebraska was making a lot of shots, and then the Badgers started to help off of shooters more, like giving more space to shooters, and then it made it harder to close out, and Nebraska took advantage of that. So, it is what it is. Nebraska basically targeted Connor Essegian defensively. And then we get into the end of the end of the game. And I posted what I posted about people who are going to find reasons to justify why they want Greg Gard fired, regardless of how it works, because this late game situation is a perfect example where we've had, I think, like 7 or 8 games where the Badgers were tied or up or down by one possession towards the end of games. And Greg Gard didn't call a timeout. He opted to let them play so that their team can get their defense set. This game, he called a timeout. And Chucky Hepburn didn't run the play that Greg Gard wanted him to. And then instead of trying to drive to the basket, which is also what Greg Gard wanted him to do, he took a step back 3, didn't miss it, and the Badgers, or didn't make it, and the Badgers went into overtime with Nebraska. And this is where, if your mind is made up that you want Greg Gard fired, you will say, oh, he didn't call timeouts at the end of games to set up plays. We should fire him. Oh, he called a timeout, but his player didn't listen to him, so we should fire him. That's why I'm really not even engaging in the conversation anymore.
Yeah, I'm not having that conversation.
So we get into overtime, and I will say, too, right before we get into the overtime, Greg Gard was pissed.
Yeah.
After that missed 3. He was hot, and he was screaming at Connor Essegian and Chucky Hepburn.
That was a horrible, horrible shot.
Yeah, it was a very bad sequence, and they definitely heard about it in the huddle after that. So
yes.
I don't.
Yeah, I guess
if Tyler Wall is not feeling like Tyler Wall right now, there is no goddamn way I'm not giving the ball to 1, Crowell, or 2, Wall on the freaking run in that situation. There's no way in hell I'm calling anything else. I'm not letting Chucky decide if he wants to huck up a 35-footer. No, not at all.
In my opinion, like, Connor Essegian shouldn't be the guy that you're sending to go set a screen.
No.
He got bumped off of it way too early because he's a littler guy.
No, I'm going
to that was interesting for sure.
I'm going to send Wall to send a screen because then you get the mismatch with the big and the little.
Yep.
And then if nothing else, you're going to the damn rim and you're forcing the issue. Just like Mike said before. You got to force the issue. The teams that go to the free throw line a lot, people complain about the Bucks all the time. People complain about Giannis all the time. Where the hell is he taking all his shots? There's 17 people around him every layup.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So getting to the overtime, the Badgers scored the first 2 points of the overtime, and then Nebraska went on a 10-0 run and won the game.
That was
turnovers really ended the chances that the Badgers had, and that was pretty much it. So Stephen Crowell struggled. He was 4 of 13 from the field. He did have 9 rebounds and 2 blocks. Tyler Wall also struggled from the field. He was 1 of 6, but did have 7 rebounds and 5 assists. Chucky Hepburn had 19 points again, 5 rebounds, 2 steals. Connor Sejan had 13 and 8 rebounds. Max Husband had 12 points. And it still was better. Obviously, they still lost, but some of the things that they were doing, like the ball movement, the cross-court passes, offensive movement, that stuff was still better, but it just didn't result in a win with the Nebraska game. So let's move to last night's game. Let's talk about the Michigan game. So, Jake, I want to let you go first because I know you're feeling pretty charged up about it, but what stood out to you in the Badgers game last night?
First of all, good W for the scumbags. Gotta love it.
Yes, sir.
Cover your children's ears. Fuck Hunter Dickinson. You're a prick. That's all I'm gonna say. No, that's not all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna lean in on this Hunter Dickinson stuff a little bit real quick. First of all, you wore a mask to the game because you think you're gonna steal a win from Wisconsin. You went on a podcast.
I don't need to do anything to stoke the fire in the rivalry anymore. But yet says dumb shit and then wears a ski mask.
Right. And then you go on a podcast called Scumbags. And then the third thing, and this might be the worst part of it if you're a Michigan fan, you didn't even fucking show up in the whole second half. You got guarded by
That was my favorite part.
That's my favorite part too. He was getting mainly guarded because Crowell was in foul trouble. He was getting mainly guarded by a guy that's 7 inches shorter than him?
6'7".
5 inches shorter.
So 5 inches, 5 inches shorter than you. And all you have to do is post up and throw and do a little right, shoulder turn and throw it at the rim, and it's probably going in because you're that much bigger than him. And you couldn't even do that. And the whole first half, he was.
Yeah,
put
exactly.
Your goddamn arm down.
He did not keep that same energy in the second half. In the second half, it was ref.
Yep.
Please listen to me. They're being really rude and saying mean things. Shut up, you big bitch. That's what I got to say about that.
Did not keep the same energy in the second half. And, it is what it is. And he's all, you'll be the villain.
No, he put all that, you know what? He took all that energy and put it all on the refs, too, just barking at them the whole time. That's where his energy went to.
And, like you said, only the 3 points in the second half. And he got soft in the second half. Like he started really flopping around and like falling on the floor a lot. And this game almost exclusively is why I have Carter Gilmore as my underrated performer of the week. Carter Gilmore worked his ass off on Hunter Dickinson last night.
He did.
And what made it easy, I wouldn't say easy because it obviously isn't easy. What made it so that Hunter Dickinson had a tough go of it last night was just Carter Gilmore just getting lower. Like every time you saw Carter Gilmore, like he's like damn near a cannonball, but all of his weight and his strength is underneath the center of gravity of Hunter Dickinson. So Hunter Dickinson couldn't get anywhere because he couldn't push him around because Carter Gilmore was so low. So that's really good defensive savvy by Carter Gilmore working on Hunter Dickinson.
I'm going to say 2 more things about this Hunter Dickinson stuff, and then I'm going to go into the game. One, you're 7'1". And like I said, Crowell was like basically in foul trouble the whole game. If you're 7'1", you're the biggest guy on the floor, you do not allow 14 offensive rebounds. That is number 1. And I understand that sometimes there's long rebounds, but 14 long rebounds, I don't buy it.
Okay. Kamari McGee and Jordan Davis came and got some under the basket.
I know. So then the second thing I'm going to say is for all the people that say fire guard, I'm going to give credit to guard right here and right now.
Yep.
That first half, they took the lead into the halftime. We talked about his antics. He was acting like a giant jackass. When he was going into half, he did an interview, and he said the first thing we have to do is we have to guard Hunter Dickinson better. And what the hell did they do in the second half? So that message was heard loud and clear. This guy is not going to come into our house and act like a goddamn bully. You understand me? That's exactly what I'd be saying to my kids. I had a situation in my game on Saturday. We were down 6-2, and I looked at them. I knew we were better than the other team. I said, timeout. And I did what Coach Geigel used to do to me and you, Tyler, where he'd run to the whole opposite side. He did it to me once. In a summer league, he ran out of the damn gym because I wasn't hustling enough. And he made me run to get him. I walked all the way to the other side. I said, I want everybody to run now. They all ran to me. I looked them all in the eyes. These are 10-year-olds. And I said, they don't get another damn layup the rest of the game. You understand me? And guess what? They didn't get another goddamn layup. Sometimes you got to be hard on these kids. Sometimes kids want to be coached. Yep. And these Wisconsin Badgers, they want to be coached. And I love the heart that they play with in the second half. I'm going to jump right into the game real quick. Fuck Hunter Dickinson. Okay, so anyways, here we go. The Badgers didn't shoot the ball well, but their effort the entire night was fantastic.
Yes.
And I don't want to hear no bullshit about how, oh, they didn't score for the last 10 minutes. To be honest with you, it's pretty impressive that they could not make a shot for that long. Just going to say that. We had 2 wide open threes from our best shooter and a freaking layup with nobody around him. And we missed all of them. But to give credit, they've been a bad free throw shooting team. They made a lot of free throws down the stretch.
Yes,
so that I want to give them credit for. The missed shot thing, it's going to happen, man. You're not going to make 100% of the shots you take. And like I said earlier when we were talking about the Penn State game, that out of bounds that we ran, guard called a hell of a play to get a wide open shot for a season because he knew we were in a drought at that point. And there was like 5 minutes left in the game after that.
I want to make a point on the not scoring a field goal because people get so caught up in 10 minutes without a field goal that they act like we've gone 10 minutes with nothing but empty possessions.
Yeah.
Because listen, here's the thing. When you get fouled, if you're shooting and it's a shooting foul, that does not count as a field goal attempt because you were fouled in the act of shooting.
Yep.
So if the Badgers or whatever, or the bonus situations, making free throws does not mean that just because you didn't make a field goal that you have empty possessions. People gotta really focus on that. And I could go through the last 10 minutes of possessions and I can say, okay, the Badgers had 15 possessions in the last 10 minutes and they scored on, however many of them. Just because they didn't make a field goal doesn't mean they're not scoring points. People gotta let go of that because it does still end the possession with points. It's not 10 minutes of empty possessions.
So to your point, I heard this today. They had 8 possessions. They only had 8 possessions in the last 10 minutes and 45 seconds.
Okay.
So that's all they had. That's all they had. So now to go back to something that we talked about last week, where people are comparing the NBA to the college, they got to understand that the Badgers play a really slow pace.
Yep.
We are not the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay.
Right.
And last night was bad for that correlation to happen because you're watching the Bucks against the Celtics, 2 of the best teams, the 2 best teams, in my opinion, in the entire NBA. Professional basketball.
Yep.
You have a bunch of professionals. And when we talk about the Celtics, I don't give a shit that Tatum and Brown weren't playing. Okay. That roster is loaded. And I do not want to talk good about the Celtics. But that roster is loaded with good NBA players.
We'll get there.
So the pace of play, 1, college kids, 2, they only had 8 possessions. And to your point, they're getting shots. They're getting free throw attempts.
They're literally scoring points.
And what's even crazier, they're still playing defense and they won the goddamn game.
Yeah.
You would think that we lost by the way people are talking. I'm going to stop talking before I start going crazy. I'm going to let you and Mike go now. But
I literally saw somebody say that the Badgers lose 99 out of 100 times if they don't make a field goal in the last 10 minutes of the game. I'm like, there's no possible way you could know that. There are so many other factors outside of field goals that lead to wins and losses.
Nope. You just need to go to the goddamn Facebook comment section and you'll freaking be the smartest person
Ignore
ever.
the fact that while the Badgers were 0 of their last, 15, I think they missed their last 15 field goals. Ignore the fact that Michigan missed their last 11.
Nope, we're not going to talk about that.
No, you can't do that. We're only here to complain about the Badgers.
Yep, that's it. That's it.
There's so many other factors that go into this. So I'm going to let Mike go. Mike, what stood out to you from this game?
Oh man, you guys, man, I don't know. I could go off on Dickinson. I'll choose a different route, I guess. So, our defense was stout, man. That was one hell of a second half performance. Carter Gilmore, he's also one guy that I'm a stickler about at times, as I'm sure other people are too. But he stepped in, especially when you got a guy like Steven Crowell in foul trouble against a guy who's the primary scorer for their team at 7'1", and you're a big man, your starting centers out of foul trouble. That does not line out have a recipe for success for the most part. But Carter Gilmore played fantastic defense. I mean, the 3 points total, 0 of 3 field goals in the second half. I mean, the dude needs to just absolutely shut it. He's making himself look like a fool. I mean, it's childish now at this point because I don't know. I could go on and on about it, but I'm going to give a huge shout out from an offensive standpoint. Someone's going to mention. I'm going to mention one of these. I'll let Tyler mention the other one after this, but because I know what he's going to say. But if it wasn't for Connor Esigian, right? We can talk about his defense throughout this year. He plays freshman defense sometimes. We get it. But if it was not for Connor Esigian on this team this year, where do you think the batters would be record-wise? Because he
Minnesota.
Correct. And I'm gonna go real quick. We talk about recruiting. How this is one I would argue right now. This is one of Guard's best recruiting wins since he's been a coach. Why do I say that? Not many freshmen have. Johnny Davis, I guess, but before that, who has had this much playing time as a freshman? You might have to go back to Sam Decker for as a true freshman. Damn it, yeah, I guess we're on a roll. But still, point being, it does not happen with a bunch of freshmen in this program to come in and be a major contributor offensively, especially offensively. We get it, the defense, we have to figure that out. But a Connor Esigian, man, holy shit. Like, 23 points, scored a third of our points last night. The dude was feeling it. He was getting to the hole, to the bucket, which is nice to see because that's just another aspect of his game that we can utilize besides shooting the three. Whether it was like getting open via back cut or just cutting to the hoop in general off a curl, there's just more and just throwing it down. That one dunk that he had, that was pretty goddamn impressive for an undersized in the college game anyway, an undersized freshman. So that he's obviously had big games for us this year, but holy shit. And I would say he's our go-to free throw shooter as a true freshman on this team.
Yep.
That's something that I think that really needs to be called out on. So there were plenty of like easy bunnies, easy twos we need to clean up on as a team. But at the end of the day, and this is how we've won games in the past. It's been our free throw shooting and our rebounding. That's been the classic Wisconsin way, I guess, if you want to put it, with getting wins. Scrappy wins like this, we have to shoot good from the free throw line. Well, this is one of those games where 14 of 18, about 78%, that's most likely going to put you in the game if you're in the close game. If not, a close win, if not right in the game. So
that's one of those things that's better than some NBA teams.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think at the end of the day, we did some stuff that was the Wisconsin way, mainly the free throw shooting and the offensive rebounds, which I forget. What was it? We were like 340th or something like that. I forget. In offensive rebounding.
We are 349th in offensive rebounds.
Which
that's not good.
How many teams in D1 are there? But
I don't even know, but we got to be like real close.
375, I think.
375. Oh my goodness! But no, we got back to the Wisconsin way, I think, with like how we close out and win games. You guys did a really, really good job with the possessions in the whole second half in the last 10 minutes for sure. That was something that I didn't even know we had only 8 possessions, which is wild. But that's also credit to the offensive rebounds that we got to extend as much time off the clock as we can as well. But those are couple of the main things that I would like to call out, and I'll let Tyler hit the 1 point that I know he's going to talk about because our bench play definitely stood out, and I will transition over to you on that.
The Badgers bench was our underrated performer from the game last night. We share the leading scorers, and then we give an underrated performer for every win. And the Badgers bench collectively was the underrated performer from last night's game. So let's just go top down. And the last couple of weeks, the things that I've been asking for or mentioning that the Badgers could do to improve would be more offensive movement, working on inside out, the cross court passes, and offensive rebounding. And they went and got a shit ton of offensive rebounds. I'm like, yes! I'm like, I look smart once in a while. Not always, but once in a while. So I will take that. And Crowell, he started the game. The Badgers were working in the post like they do. Stephen Crowell, it felt to me like he was forcing some shots, but then he started to work inside out a little bit. Connor Seagen and Max Klesman both hit some threes. Badgers went on an 8-0 run. And then we get to Carter Gilmore working his ass off on Dickinson. And it just felt like the Badgers really wanted to win this game with the effort that they played with. The Badgers hustled harder than Michigan. That's absolutely true fact. The Badgers started 5 of 9 from the 3-point line. Michigan did finish the first half off on a 10-2 run to take a 32-31 lead into the halftime. But, Wisconsin, 7 offensive rebounds in the first half, only 2 second chance points. So there's an opportunity there where the Badgers can say, hey, we're leaving some points on the board here by getting offensive rebounds, but by not finishing possessions. So that's something, Greg Gard may take into account going into their game with Rutgers this weekend. But we get into second half. Tyler Wall gets the lead, 35-34, part of a 6-0 run by the Badgers. The run gets up to 15-4 at one point, capped by the Juwan Howard technical foul. And a lot of times coaches will get technical fouls hoping it fires their team up. And, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. In this case, this pains me to say it, but I give credit to Juwan Howard because he went and got himself a technical foul and it fired up his team and rallied them. It did.
Yeah.
I hate to admit it, but that was a good job coaching by Juwan Howard. And he's in a Power 5 conference coaching basketball for a reason. And to his credit, he did something that got him, some credit. Badgers, not only was Carter Gilmore working his ass off on Dickinson, the Badgers were very picky and choosy of when to send double teams. And I got to give credit to Max Klesman. The Badgers sent a double team at Hunter Dickinson. I think it was Shetter rolled to the basket, and Max Klesman's just waiting there above the restricted circle and took a charge. That was
beautiful.
That's fantastic.
That rotation, man. Holy shit. That was
chef's kiss. That was fantastic job by Max Klesman.
That's the shots of basketball.
So, mentioned Carter Gilmore, Jordan Davis. He did his thing a little bit. Kamari McGee to give the Badgers 6 points off the bench and grab some rebounds. It's awesome to see, Nate Robinson with dreads out there getting offensive rebounds and hitting some buckets for the Badgers and seeing him really now getting more strongly acclimated to the team. So it was awesome to see his impact to give the Badgers a bench a lift. He was part of a 9-2 run at one point. I got to say the fourth foul on Stephen Crowell, that was some bullshit. Hunter Dickinson raised at his elbow and hit Stephen Crowell first. Crowell kind of retaliated by swinging his left arm and Dickinson fell to the floor. But in my mind, if anything, that should have been a double foul. Dickinson hit Crowell first.
Yeah, just putting all of his energy to get a call from the ref.
I thought he was flopping, bro. I was like, this big bitch.
So Jake and I covered the last field goals. And I'll say for Chucky Hepburn, for a guy who struggled offensively, he was the Badgers' closer defensively last night. Michigan didn't even get a chance to put up a shot at the end of the game, try to cut the lead down. Chucky Hepburn literally stole that away from him, so maybe we should have given Chucky Hepburn Hunter Dickinson ski mask after the game for stealing the win.
Well done.
Games decided by 5 or less. Now that this game is in the books, Badgers are 10-5, and Michigan is 3-7.
Yep, and Badgers have 5 quad 1 wins now.
They
do.
I
mean, They still have a chance. I mean, technically, right now, Joel and already said they're in the tournament. They're in the first 4 in. So we'll see.
Maybe we'll get an extra game. Maybe they'll get a play-in game.
That could be sick.
You get a little tune-up game, and then they get to go play somebody.
Stressful, but
yeah, it could be fun. I don't know.
Just get in. Just get in. I don't care how. Just get in.
Buckle up, baby.
Averages 18 points a game. He scored 12 last night. Like we said, only 3 in the second half. We mentioned Connor's career high, 23 points. Stephen Kroll, 11 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists. Max Klesmit, 10 points. Tyler Wall, 6 points, 8 rebounds, 4 of them offensive. Really just a thing where, like, the Badgers won. Like, you can choose to focus on the fact that they didn't make a field goal in the last 10 minutes. And that's on you. Like, if the Badgers win and you still choose to focus on the negatives and, say they should have lost or they could have lost, like, that's on you. That's your perception of it. And if you want to choose to perceive the negative aspects of a game that the Badgers fucking won, that's on you. You can we can watch our show and try to adopt a more positive perspective, but I mean, we can't force you to do it.
Yeah.
So that is what it is. Mike, I don't know if you got anything else you want to say about Badgers basketball. They only have 1 game in the next week. They play Rutgers on Saturday. That'll be an interesting one. But Mike, I don't know if there's anything else you want to say before you hop off and we switch to Bucks.
Yeah, I guess I'll quick call up from the Michigan game. Klesmit did a hell of a job, I thought, on Jet Howard too. I mean, that's a guy that I believe averages around 15 points. Held him to 14 shooting, 1 of 6 from 3. Defensively, once again, this was one hell of a performance. And man, I'm so happy. I'm for Kamari McGee too.
Yeah,
that's just a guy that just puts in the time. I think he's with us. I want to say 2 more years after this, maybe 3. It's one or the other. But anyway, I'm just really, really happy for him. I've been waiting for him to get 10 minutes a game, 10 plus minutes one of these times, and God damn it! So it just helps our bench out too. I'm hoping we can maybe get to that 8-man rotation now, consistently, hopefully. Because I do think even in these end of game situations, we get to these situations where we may blow a 12-point lead, whatever. Maybe it's fatigue is starting to play a part in this team, whether we like it or not. Playing only 7 guys deep that are playing, 38 to 40 minutes. So anytime you get anybody else that can contribute as an 8th or 9th person that's just going to help us, overall. So maybe it is a fatigue issue part of it as well, but I'm just happy that we won the damn game and we can move on. But no, these last 5 games are going to be very, very competitive. I mean, it's going to be no joke having Rutgers coming to town. They're top of the conference on Saturday, and Iowa's always going to be Iowa and be close. And at Michigan again, then we get Purdue at home. I mean, and then at Minnesota. So I guess. Whereas it stands now, we're 7-8 in the conference. We for sure have to win. I would love to win 4 out of 5 to feel really good. But I think if we can win 3 out of 5, win a Big Ten tournament game, I think that's going to do it.
Okay.
But
so you're going into my question. You're going into my question. Give me a percent of chance that we make the tourney. Give me a percent right now.
Oh my God, you're
right
talking
now, right on the spot.
Right
on the spot.
You're 50 on the nose, 50-50. Because, that Purdue game just scares the hell out of me. I don't know. This is just I'm just a biased fan here. I think if we can win 3 out of 5 plus a Big Ten game, so let's say hypothetically 4 out of 6, we'll say that overall. We have to win 3 out of 5 and 1 Big Ten tournament game. I think that will get us like one of those 11 seed play-in games or even 12 seed, which is what I would love. Just be that 12 seed team that just ruins it for everybody.
Yeah, I say we're at like 70%. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think there's unless the Badgers lose 3 out of 5, we just keep losing these games. I think they're gonna win versus the Rutgers because I know Tyler's gonna ask me that question. I think we're gonna win versus the Rutgers, we're gonna improve our record to 17-10. I believe we're 16-10, right? Or are we 15?
I think it's
16?
15.
Okay, so we're gonna get
15 and 10 right now.
10,
So we're gonna get to 16-10. We're gonna get back to 500 in Big Ten play. The committee's gonna look at that. They're gonna be like, wow, they beat Michigan and Rutgers back to back. They need back to back wins. That'll be really, really good. And then that maybe this Badgers team is coming around. I think we beat Rutgers. I think that's gonna change everything. I'm gonna give us 70%.
I'm gonna say I was thinking 60%, so I'm just gonna split the difference on you guys. I'm gonna say 60%.
All right.
Like I'm leaning towards them being in. That's where that is. And I'm gonna put some chips on Tyler Wall's health. I think he's gonna get healthier as we get more towards the end of the season, especially now that they don't have a game until Saturday, so there's some time in there for him to get a little bit of rest there.
Yep.
I'm gonna go with that. And my thoughts on this are, Jake and I said this last week, and we're gonna say it again, and we'll probably say it again next week, regardless of how Saturday's game goes. It takes literally nothing from you to just believe that they can do it or to act like they're capable. It takes nothing away from you. It's not going to make you any less happy if they, if over the next 5 weeks, if they don't make it at the end of those 5 games. Sorry, I meant games, not weeks. But you'll be happier over that time span.
True.
So you could choose to be negative over the next 5 games and say the Badgers make it. Then you get the low, and then you get to go up a little, or you can just be up, and then when it gets to the point, then figure out where to go from there. And even if they don't make it, it's not the end of the world, and there will still be things to look forward to with Badger basketball. Gus Yeldon was at the game last night. I'm excited to watch him next year. I'm starting to get really excited about Nolan Winter because I keep hearing so many good things about him.
Dude. I've watched a couple of his last games, some highlight reels. Holy,
dude's a baller.
We did good. I think Greg did good again.
I'm looking forward to the Badgers next year, but I'm still looking forward to the Badgers this year. Like I said, it costs you nothing to put some belief in them that they can do it, instead of saying shit like, "Oh, well, they'll probably end up in the NIT after they lose to Rutgers and Minnesota and whatever." Costs you nothing to just have a little bit of optimism and a little bit of belief. So that's where I'm going to stand with that.
Who says they don't rattle off 6 straight at the end of the year?
Who says they don't win the Big Ten tournament?
I mean, the COVID year, they won 10 straight, and then the tournament got canceled.
Yeah.
Shit happens, man.
All right. Well, Mike, thanks for joining us again. I'm sure we'll have you back before Big Ten tournament time and before the March Madness tournament kicks off, which, if you are interested, we did do a tournament last year. I think the winner got a gift card for Parker Johns. That was last year's gift. This year, I don't know. We'll figure something out. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm in. Sign me up for sure.
Maybe Tyler from Wisco Ball can hook us up with a giveaway for the winner of it. But we'll be doing that again. So we'll put the link on our show page when we set that up. But Mike, thanks for joining us again, and we'll probably talk to you soon.
Sounds good, fellas. Thanks for having me on. Go Bucky.
Good luck at your game tonight, man.
All right. So you and I now get to transition into NBA basketball, and not a 2-1 week, but a 3-0 week. Some undefeated Bucks basketball. So give me your power pair from the 2 LA and Boston wins.
Before we get into that, one more win, and we just get to go into the All-Star break being like, Jesus, I forgot what losing feels like. So they play the Bulls tomorrow, I believe.
Yes.
So my power pair, obviously Giannis. I'm going to let you cover Giannis this week because I cover Giannis every week. I'm going to let you do your thing over there. But just know that he's really, really good, if you didn't already.
Sure.
If you just decided to live under a rock for the last 3 years, I'm telling you right now, that guy, he's good.
Yeah. So is
then
this.
That guy is good too. And that's my next guy I'm going to talk about. He's fantastic.
Shocking we have the same power pair.
He's an all-star for a reason.
Yep.
I can't believe that he set the NBA record for most seasons in between all-star appearances. That is wild to me. For a guy who gets talked about all the time in the offseason about who's the most underrated guy, who's the guy that plays the best defense, How is this guy going this long without an All-Star appearance? It's crazy to me.
For credits to longevity, like Drew Holiday's, he was good early in his career, he's good in the middle, and he's good towards the end, and he's still going.
And we are just very happy that he's Milwaukee Buck. Let's just say that.
Yes.
25.6 points per game, 5.6 rebounds, 6.6 assists. That was a mouthful. He shot 52% from the field and 50% behind the three-point line. 8 of his 13 makes were last night. That's crazy. He's good on both ends. He got the steal, the slam. I think it should have been a foul. We're going to get into that later. My underrated performer, Grayson Allen. This guy, man, I got to say, for a guy last offseason in the playoffs and then all of offseason was talked about for his effort and his defense, I'll tell you what, he has definitely taken that shit to heart, and he plays hard on defense.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, he'll still get scored on because he's only 6'4", dude.
Right.
You can only do so much. But I want to give my respect to him for, first of all, his ability to take and make three-point shots and then defend with effort. And I've said this a billion times. You have to want to be good at defense.
Yeah.
It's like you were saying before about choosing your mindset. When you decide that you want to be good at defense, I want to stop this guy. That is the first step to being good on defense. And I think that Grayson Allen has taken that step this offseason. He's taken it seriously, and he's doing his job.
Isaac said it's an art.
It is. And by no means am I saying Grayson Allen is an all-NBA defender.
No.
Don't take what I'm saying and think that. But this guy is a guy that you don't have to hide anymore, I don't think.
You can see the concentrated effort to improve in that aspect.
In the steal last night, that ended the game, Grayson and Giannis were the one that came together. So he's around the ball. He shot 42% from 3, 8 of 19. That's a very solid percentage. You get that from a guy that's your 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th option at some nights.
Right.
When we're fully healthy, you get a guy that can hit 8 of 19 three-pointers. You're living good. That's all I'm going to say.
So I also had Drew Holiday on mine. I'm going to have some cool stats when we get into last night's game. So this is Giannis's points in the last 3 games. 38, 35, 36.
Yep.
His rebounds, 10, 8, 13. Not a crazy rebounding week. But his assists, 6, 6, and 9.
Yeah.
Giannis is out here just giving you 35, 12, and 7 assists in the last week.
I got to ask, because there's 2 passes. I don't mean to interrupt you. Which assist was your favorite? Was it the one where he was like trapped, like almost out of bounds, and he threw it to Drew? Or was it the one where he did like the left-hand hook? Because that left-hand hook pass was disgusting, in my opinion.
I think I got to go with the left-hand hook because that's one where like his momentum is going and like he knows he's like, this is my only option. And then just, and it was like a laser too.
I was in awe when I saw that. I was like, holy shit. But anyways, continue.
Dudes, I mean, we can't say enough things about him. Like they had to give the Eastern Conference Player of the Week award to Derek White because they couldn't give it to Giannis for a 3rd week in a row.
Ridiculous. And not that Derek White wasn't deserving or anything, but come on.
Right. I was just throwing some shade. Isaac said Giannis is the reason I'm concerned about the U.S. basketball team.
I mean, shit, if I wouldn't blame you. I don't blame you for that thought process, dude.
Underrated performer. I went with Javon Carter. He was quiet in the Lakers game, which we'll get into. He scored 13 points against the Clippers. And then he scored 9 last night against the Celtics, all of them in the second quarter, like all in like a bunch. And we know what he does defensively. So I wanted to give Javon Carter a little bit of love for the underrated performer. Let's start with the Lakers game. Isaac's going to want to hear this. We got actually both of his favorite teams, the Lakers and the Clippers. So let's start with the Lakers game.
Oh, poor Isaac, man. That guy's so nice.
I know. He just comes to watch the show for a little while. Then I tell him that his favorite team is the Clippers.
Poor guy. I'm sorry, Isaac.
Grace.
I just give you shit for fun, but damn, man, shots fired.
Yeah, I did it on national television.
Let's get into this Lakers game, huh? Well, to be honest with you, the Lakers play with a lot of effort. I'll give them credit for that. I
Yeah.
think they play with a lot of effort, a lot of energy. They just didn't have the horses to compete with the Milwaukee Bucks team. That was a smart move by Budenholzer to put in Carter and Grayson during the fourth quarter. He said assholes. I'm not an asshole. I said poor Isaac. I said poor Isaac. No, man down. The Bucks really did dominate this game outside of their 3-point shooting. The 3-point shooting, wasn't great, but
they started 0 for 4.
Yeah, they dominated the rebounding like they always do. They actually shared the ball really well and had a really low turnover rate. The turnovers outside of the Celtics game, which why?
Yeah.
Was really good. They've been really good. They've been on a really good streak lately. We talked last week about their turnover rate, and they've been really, really good. So 24 assists to 11 turnovers is something that, I don't take lightly. I just told everybody that I cussed the Bucks out when they turned the ball over. And for some reason, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I should have looked this up because I was thinking about it yesterday. The Bucks are horrible in the first quarter. They're horrible.
Unless they're playing the Pistons, then they go bonkers.
For some reason, right? Well, the Pistons suck ass. But, I mean, we suck in the first quarter, dude. I got to look up our numbers because we have a lot of turnovers and we shoot a bad percentage in the first quarter.
Yeah, could be the warm-up. I mean, the Bucks started 0 for 4 from the 3-point line. Lopez hit the first 3 for the Bucks. Grayson hit the next one, so they were 2 for 6. They finished, first half 5 for 28 from the 3-point line in the first half. And they were only down by 8 points despite missing 23 3-pointers in the first half. Only down 8.
Yikes.
It's their second most 3-point attempts in a half this season.
Wow.
And they made 5.
Wow.
I mean, it was tied 15-15 at the 6-minute mark. Giannis seems to have it like a couple times a week where it looks like a shot where it's he's going to have to lay it in, and then he just turns his hand over and dunks the ball. And it's what the hell? How does he do that? Isaac asked, do you guys think it's a strategy against Giannis following him intentionally that can bleed in the playoffs? I mean, it's a strategy, but let me just ask you real quick, how did it work for the Phoenix Suns when they tried it in the playoffs?
And we actually talked about this a couple weeks ago. We talked about watching the post-game show, and they talked about how Giannis, for some reason, the all-time greats, they always just figure it out. And late in the game, Giannis just fucking figures it out at the free throw line.
For last night's game when we get there.
Yeah, he just figures it out when he has to, man. So go ahead, foul him.
Yeah. Second half, Giannis hit Rui Hachimura with a fake spin. That was so nasty. Giannis is known for his spin move. For Giannis to hit somebody with a fake spin, that's nasty.
I almost said
Isaac said, make it when it counts in the Shaq voice. Bucks opened the second half on a 12-6 run in 3.5 minutes. Giannis is hitting threes, fadeaways, just everything. The run ballooned to 12-2 after that. 4 of the 10 were by Giannis. The other 6 were by Drew Holiday and Grayson Allen hitting threes. TNT, they did a good job. 2 reasons. One, they called out threes opening the lane for Giannis. That makes the Bucks a dominant team. When the Bucks are hitting threes and then they can't just pack it in on Giannis, we saw the game-winning assist in the Toronto game, all 5 defenders are focused on Giannis, and he finds a round the back to Grayson Allen in the corner for a 3 to win the game. When teams can't do that, Giannis will just carve you up.
Oh, yeah.
And the other thing that I like that TNT did was they put a microphone on the rim. I love that. So you can hear all the swishes and all the dunks and the ball bounce on the rim. I love that microphone on the rim. That might just be me personally, but I love hearing all the sounds from the game. I love that. So TNT, cool. Do that more. I like it. Drew Holiday putting on a third quarter 2-point clinic. And then I want to call out Pat Connaughton and Thanasis. Tim said I'm fed up with Bally Sports not covering these primetime games. I mean, the NBA, like the national TV, they bid on those games. Like they pay for the rights to broadcast them. Bernard's asking a question about Mahomes and Rodgers. We'll save that one for later. Isaac said I didn't like the broadcast view ESPN did, maybe for a quarter. I don't know. I don't know what it is with ESPN. Like their NBA broadcast just, I don't know. It's okay, I guess.
Yeah, I definitely prefer TNTs over ESPN.
I agree. TNT feels like I don't know. It's going to sound weird, but it feels cooler.
To me, TNT feel because they have like actual like basketball people. It feels like they actually care about basketball. Where like ESPN is like so like across all sports, where it's kind of like, take some basketball. You know what I mean? Like it kind of feels like here's some basketball because we're ESPN. Where TNT
tell me
is like,
this is what you're trying to say. Like if you're trying to say like TNT has basketball people and ESPN has ESPN people.
Yeah, that's what that's if you generalize it, that's what it feels like. Like because you could barely understand Shaq, but you know what the hell he knows what he's talking about. And like even in between all the jokes and them trying to run to the screen before Kenny, like when you listen to them talk like during the pregame and halftime and postgame, those guys know their shit. And then having guys like Reggie Miller and Kevin Harlan and shit, like those guys know their stuff. Like these guys have been, in basketball for a long time. And Isaac agrees with me. Kevin Harlan is the GOAT.
Kevin Harlan is awesome. I love Kevin Harlan.
He's the man, dude.
So I want to give Pat Connaughton and Thanasis a little bit of spotlight here. Pat Connaughton was like jumping around. He was trying to save a ball from going out of bounds. The ball did go out of bounds. But Thanasis jumped up, and not while everybody else was going to the huddle. Thanasis went straight to Pat Connaughton and was giving him a bunch of love for the hustle that he was showing by trying to keep the ball in bounds. So everybody needs a hype man like Thanasis, and that's great stuff to see. So I wanted to give Thanasis credit for that because he's not playing very often, but the dude still makes an impact. I don't care what you say. Say that he's only on the team because he's Giannis's brother. He makes people feel good. Like, if everybody else is walking to the huddle and there's one guy that comes over to me, I'm not thinking about everybody else. I'm thinking about the one guy that came to show me some love for making a hustle play.
That stuff matters, dude.
That's culture is what that is.
Stuff matters.
So the Bucks outscored the Lakers 38-23 in the third quarter.
Ouch.
Yes. The Bucks were 15 of 27 in the third quarter. Pat Connaughton was struggling a bit in this game, but then he hits a three that's 3 feet behind the three-point line as the shot clock is expiring in the fourth quarter. Isaac said that's why they keep Haslam around for the Heat. Haslam's like a player coach. Like that dude's going to be a coach when he retires.
Nobody can convince me that he doesn't own part of Miami at this point. He owns part of that city.
Right. Game got tied with 8 minutes to go. Grayson Allen hit a three. Wesley Matthews didn't play a ton of minutes, but he made an impact on the game, which I appreciate seeing. And then the Bucks went on an 8-1 run in 50 seconds.
That can happen with the Milwaukee Bucks.
The game got tied with 8 minutes to go, and then the Bucks outscored the Lakers 21-8.
Yeah, they just ran out of gas, in my opinion. But
Giannis 38, 10, and 6. Giannis has the most 30-10 games in the NBA this season. Yes, he has more than Jokic, the guy who everybody's, he averages a triple-double. Giannis has more 30 and 10 games than Nikola Jokic does.
I have a disgusting stat when we do our stat of the week later. Disgusting stat, dude. And I'm not revealing it on the show. You will have to watch the reel. You will have to watch the reel. It is gross. Took a long time for me to find it.
James, yes, Bally is about to claim bankruptcy. So,
are they really?
Yes.
So where the hell are the games going to go back to? Fox Sports?
They didn't say yet. For MLB, they said the MLB is going to take care of broadcasting them, but we'll see what it is. Isaac said Dame will win the three-point contest if the Lakers defense is out there. I mean, they might. Giannis gave him 38, 10, and 6. Drew had 18, 7, and 7. Chris Middleton, 22 points and 5 rebounds and 3 assists in 24 minutes. 22 points in 24 minutes for Chris Middleton.
Wow.
Damn, dude. Like I said, some of these games, like if he's playing 32, 35, 36 minutes, he's going to be scoring 30.
When Middleton comes back, dude, and he's fully healthy, and then we get Bobby and we get Jay, we gonna see. That's all
We'll
I'm
see
gonna
who's
say.
the real deepest team in the league, James.
We gonna see.
Brook Lopez, 9 points, 10 rebounds, 3 blocks. Pat Connaughton had 5 rebounds and 2 steals. Wesley Matthews had 6 rebounds. Mamu Kelashvili, 6 points, 3 rebounds. Dude was flying around. I do think with one of the Bucks' open roster spots, I do think they're going to upgrade his contract to a fully guaranteed NBA contract and not a two-way.
That would be a good
I think that's on the horizon for Sandro Mamukelashvili.
Yeah.
Bucks only missed 5 free throws, 16 points off turnovers, a little high. 11 second chance points for the Lakers at 32 fundamental failure points. That's underneath where you'd like him to be, so that's not bad. Isaac said Drew's playing out of this world this past month. That's true. Wait till we get to last night's game. So we can do this Clippers game. And Jake, what's up to you from the Clippers game?
Well, first of all, I'm going to give you credit on one thing. You called it because we were watching the game together. You called that they were going to dominate in the second half, and we're watching the game, and all of a sudden the Bucks are going up by 3, they're up by 5, and they're kicking their ass, and it's the second half, and I'm like, this guy's pretty smart sometimes, huh? Nah, man, the Bucks played well. I had no doubt in my mind. Again, the ball movement was fucking phenomenal. 28 assists to 11 turnovers. That's just, like you said before, chef's kiss. One of my favorite emotes of all time. 49 rebounds to 35 rebounds. That's an ass whooping. We shot the ball really well, 45 of 90. That's 50%. 17 to 39 from 3 isn't too shabby either. We have Giannis, dude. We got our 10th W in a row. That's the longest since the 18-19 season. So what more do I really have to say other than this team is clicking right now?
They're rolling, and they have the benefit of the doubt as it comes to a guy like Middleton to be able to bring him along just at whatever pace they feel like.
I don't remember. We might have both said it, or I heard it on TV. Whatever the case may be. But before this win streak, the Bucks were kind of like win 2, lose 1, lose 2, maybe win 3, kind of up and down.
Yeah.
And I don't remember where I heard it or who said it or whatever, but I heard somebody say it's time for them to get on a long winning streak. And God damn it, if they gotten on a long winning streak. Was that you that said it?
I said that. I said they were going to win 7 in a row, and now here we are at 11, and I'm like, all right, cool. Keep doing it.
Well, here they are, and they're going to get to 12, then we're going to go into the All-Star break. Here we go.
Yeah. Isaac said the Bucks' fourth quarter defense under 5 minutes has been locked down. That's for sure.
Yeah, when we get to the Celtics game, I got something to say about the defense that you pointed out as well. So
Giannis scored the Bucks' first 8 points. The Bucks were playing good defense 1 through 5. The Bucks jumped out to a 10-2 lead in the first 4 minutes of the game. Drew Holiday looked comfortable. I will say the Clippers, they did go on one big run.
Yeah,
they went on a 19-2 run for a 4-point lead. The Bucks offense slowed down a little bit, but 7 first quarter turnovers. So you brought up that the Bucks only had what did you say? 11 turnovers, 14?
11
turnovers, 7 of them. Oh yeah, right here. I got 11 turnovers. 7 of them in the first quarter.
I remember.
So that's only 4 turnovers over the next 36 minutes. That's good stuff.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Bucks were staying in the game despite the turnovers. Lopez was carrying the team a little bit. He had 7 straight points and a blocked shot. 16 points, 12 rebounds, and 2 blocks in the first half for Brook Lopez. Bucks went on a 12-4 run to end the second quarter. Third quarter went back and forth for a little while, kind of like the Miami game last week where there was all the lead changes and ties. You can't go under screens on Paul George. Like, it shouldn't need to be said, but I'm going to say it anyways. Bucks started to pull away late in the third quarter. Javon Carter and Pat Connaughton actually ran some great two-man game, ended in a three-pointer. Seeing Brook Lopez and Sandro Mamukelashvili on the floor together a little bit was interesting. It seems like they're maybe, and this is part of why I think what I do about Mamu is that it seems like they're seeing if he can play like a hybrid role of what Brooke does and what Bobby does.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it struck me a little bit, as if they're just trying him out in some of that. Fourth quarter, everybody's getting buckets. Like Pat Connaughton's hitting step backs as the shot clock's expiring and shit. Like if that happens, like you just pack it up and go home.
Yep.
Pat Connaughton was rotating, got a tipped pass, saved the ball from going out of bounds, turned into a Marjan Beauchamp playing some good late minutes. He ended up finishing with 10 points, 2 assists, 2 steals, and a block shot. Javon Carter scored 13 points, like I mentioned before. Drew Holiday, 19 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals. Brooke Lopez finished with 22, 15, and 3 blocks. Giannis, who, outside of me mentioning that he scored the first 8 points, didn't really even mention him that much. He had 35 points. So in 2 games against the Clippers, he scored 54 and 35.
That's a lot.
That's all of the points.
That is all of the points.
Bucks had 28 assists. They were plus 14 in rebounds. You ready for this?
Yes. Isaac
said Zubats fouled Giannis every 4.034 seconds. He's got no answer for Giannis. But listen to this. Bucks only missed 4 free throws. They gave up 10 points off turnovers. That's pretty decent. Anytime you're under 14 or 15 is good. Only gave up 2 second chance points. 16 fundamental failure points. That is the lowest they've ever had since I started tracking this over a year ago.
I feel like they keep setting it lower and lower, dude, like every week.
18 was the previous low. That was about 2 weeks ago. 16. That's it. And the Bucks won a blowout. Coincidence? I think not.
I don't believe in coincidences.
All right, let's feel the love. Let's talk
I
about
do want to throw
Valentine's
this
Day.
in that this was the first time the Bucks have swept the Lakers and Clippers in LA.
Back-to-back nights? Is that what it was?
No, but in LA, I think. God, when was the year though? Do you remember hearing that? Was it like
I don't
09
remember
or
hearing
some
the year.
shit?
I thought it was on back-to-back nights is what I thought I heard.
Oh, well, anyways. Yeah.
James, fundamental failure points is a statistic that I made up. It's based on 3 things, which are boxing out, taking care of the ball, and making free throws. So for every game, I track missed free throws, points off turnovers, and second chance points for the other team, and then missed free throws for the Bucks. And I add them all up. Last year, they averaged 33 points per game on just not doing the fundamentals, which are boxing out, making free throws, and not turning the ball over. So only 16 added up. That's less than half of their average from last season. So that's and that's the lowest that they've had since I started tracking it. So that's a statistic that I made up. So if you want to tell people, see if they'll get on board with it. I don't know that anybody wants to track it or care about it, but I do because I pay attention to fundamentals. So
All right. You ready for this, bro?
let's do it.
This is the one. This is the one I was waiting for. And yes, I was excited.
The Celtics didn't have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, or Marcus Smart.
I don't care.
Or Al Horford.
I literally don't care. Like, I don't care. Like, at all. I don't give a shit. I mean, we don't have 100% Chris Middleton. The guy's still walking around, his legs getting heavy. Yes, he's still getting buckets, but you could tell when he's getting tired. We don't have Bobby Portis. We don't have Jay Crowder into the lineup. I mean, there's a number of things that's going on. Injuries happen. And they chose to sit Jason Tatum because everything that I was reading during the day is he was trending towards playing. So that's on them. Now, I understand that Marcus Smart's been out for a while, right? 2-3 weeks now.
And Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown has like a fractured bone in his face. But, yeah. And to the point of people complaining about, oh, you beat an injured Celtics team. Like I said before, like Derek White was Eastern Conference Player of the Week.
He's a good player.
Grant Williams, I'd like him on the Bucks. Like he's annoying when we play against him, but I would like him on the Bucks. Like he makes the reason he's a versatile defender.
He's a really good defender, and he's gotten better at his passing decisions this year, I'll say.
Yeah. So, and whatever the fuck it is that makes Hausers play good against teams from Wisconsin, I don't know what it is, but it's annoying. Like the one at Michigan State and the one on the Celtics, like just go away. Go play in Europe somewhere.
Please stop, dude. Why do you have to go to lame teams? But anyways, and he chose to go to Michigan State. So you're like, oh, he can't choose to go to the Celtics. He chose to go to Michigan State. So screw him.
No, James, I will not stop being salty.
I'm also going to say, James, we didn't say that you said that. We're just saying in general.
I saw a lot of it on Twitter.
Fans were saying it. So let's break this down. I want to give credit before I forget, because this is in the front of my mind right now. I want to give credit to Tyler for pointing out, for fuck's sake, take Joe Ingles off the floor. They're targeting him on defense.
That was in overtime. Yeah.
So that was in overtime. And like I said, I wanted to just point out to Tyler that that was a good call, because once they brought Javon Carter in and he started doing his full court press, that changed everything.
Yep.
Secondly, I would have definitely backed you, with your decision to put in Wesley Matthews.
Yeah.
That would have probably been the substitution I made.
Isaac said Muscala turned into Steph. I wrote it right here. I don't probably can't read it because my handwriting's not great, but I wrote it right here. Muscala gets traded and turns into Jason Tatum.
Dude. And then for him to dunk and act like he's fucking Vince Carter, go sit down, Mario Tattoo. Jesus Christ. I was like, all right, that's annoying. Okay. You're wearing a Boston Celtics jersey and you're trying to talk shit to my team. I really want to punch you in the throat right now.
Dude chose the ugliest number too. He's like, I'm going to Boston. I'm going to be number 57.
I'm gonna tell you something. He actually chose that for his mom.
All right, that's fine. It's still an ugly number.
It is an ugly number, but he chose that for his mom. I actually heard that story after he got traded. I was reading some shit. But all right. I might puke. I'm just gonna give some credit to the Celtics. Media was concerned Ingles was beefing with Blake over the playful head tap.
Oh my god.
That
was the dumbest technical foul I think I have ever seen.
Yeah.
Joe Ingles literally got a technical foul for rubbing Blake Griffin's head like you do to a little kid. Joe Ingles got a technical foul for that. And I'm like, I replied to Eric Name, the Bucks athletic writer, and I'm like, this is why people think the NBA is soft and don't watch it anymore.
I'm literally going to start carrying around a whistle. And when I pick my stepson up from school and the people go like that, technical foul.
One free throw for Boston.
I'm just going to say this real quick. Just going to get this off my chest. The Celtics Bucks Eastern Conference Finals is going to be fucking awesome.
It's going to be stressful, but it's going to be great basketball.
Win or lose, in my mind, one of those teams is the team that is the best team in the NBA and is going to win the title.
Yep.
The Celtics' depth is very, very good. The Bucks' depth, very, very good. Both teams have star power. Both teams have shooting. Only one team has a guy that travels 100 million times. Thank you, Isaac, for that video. I don't know if did you see that this morning?
Which one?
Of Jaylen Brown. Dude, he traveled 50 times in a 30-second video. And this guy was breaking it down I got to see this. I love Jaylen Brown's game. He's like, travel. Bro, he travels all the time. Now I'm going to be watching that. So kind of not thank you, because now you fucked in my brain. Now that's what I'm going to be watching. But the Celtics are good, man. They play at a really, really good pace. They all understand their positioning. And that's why last night I was kind of I don't want to hear no bullshit about a Jaylen Brown being out, a Marcus Smart, a Jason Tatum. These guys understand this system, and they have really, really good depth.
They're bought in, too, is the thing.
100%. They know that it's a championship year. So I'm glad that you said that. So, they got a lot of good players. Malcolm Brogdon's a good player. We know that firsthand.
Yep.
I mean, Rob Williams is a good player. Like you said, they got a couple good Williams over there. Grant Williams as well. So, and Muscala was just hitting a hell of threes at the game of his life. So, like, you could just take Muscala's point shooting and just move that over to Jason Tatum, and that's the exact impact that he would have made in the game last night. So I don't want to hear nothing about them missing him. I will say the free throw disparity was a big thing. We did try to keep them in the game by turning the ball over 19 goddamn times.
Ugh.
Dude, they had more turnovers in one game than fundamental failure points versus the Clippers.
Literally.
Doesn't that piss you off?
Yes.
God. I mean, they shot the ball well. I mean, 43 and 90 is a good percentage, especially when you hold them to 46 and 99. That's fair.
True.
That's exactly what I expect in the playoffs. I expect this to be so even. The field goal percentage is off by 1%. Both teams are making 15 to 23 pointers. The rebounding is going to be really key in the playoffs because, and I got a question for you because I wanted to ask this. The game was close, right?
Yeah.
They needed to get some rebounds. They needed to get some stops at the end. Where the hell was Time Lord? Why was he sitting on the bench? You went with that small lineup. The Bucks come back. They take the lead after the Drew Holiday 3. You still have a chance to win, right? You still have to stop them, right? Yeah. Where the hell was he? They went with that small lineup, and they had Muscala on the floor as the biggest guy. That made no sense to me at all. I would have put Williams in there and been like, go make something happen, bro. Like, you know what to do. But whatever, they want to be stupid about that. That's on them. Really, all I got is just Drew Holiday is just really fucking good at basketball. James, he's on a minute restriction too. I did not know that.
Yeah. You're out here talking shit.
Well, thank you, James. I did not know that. But okay, never mind. I got nothing to say. That makes sense because the same thing happens with Middleton, when he's hot on fire. So that's fair.
Here's my foil to all they didn't have their star players. Congrats on beating an injured Celtics team, which I saw all over Twitter. Oh, you beat the Celtics injured reserve team. Listen, they're all still NBA players. Mm-hmm. And like I already said, Derek White, Grant Williams, like we already mentioned these guys. The Celtics were hitting all of their open and all of their contested shots to start the game.
True.
And the Bucks kept pace with that, despite starting 0 for 3 from the three-point line. It is what it is. Brook Lopez actually got a couple foul calls, so he started 0 for 3 from the three-point line and went and got to the free throw line. That's a veteran-savvy thing. When your shots aren't going down, you go get to the free throw line or you get the layups and you get some easy ones. You see the ball go through the basket, build your confidence, and then you start to work back out. That's veteran savvy right there by Brook Lopez. Bucks took a lead at 3:57 in the first quarter. Drew Holiday, James is going to love to hear this. Drew Holiday passed Larry Bird on the all-time assists list against the Celtics last night. So Drew Holiday is now number 46 all-time in assists, passing Larry Bird on Larry Bird's team, the Celtics. Isaac said they wouldn't want to hear that excuse if it was the other way around. You don't have to tell us that. I mean, seeing Celtics fans bragging about beating the Bucks in the series last year and on Christmas when the Bucks didn't have Chris Middleton, the Celtics killer, it's like, okay, but, doesn't whatever. Tyler said the last night was closer than I liked. And that happens. I mean, it happens. These are still NBA teams. I mean, the Magic have beaten the Celtics twice.
Think about
the Orlando Magic have beaten the Boston Celtics twice.
The Bulls beat the Bucks twice.
James said if I hear Middleton one more time. Chris Middleton.
For 3.
Chris Middleton, Celtics killer, didn't play on Christmas or in the series last year.
I mean, it's just a fact. You can't get mad at that. It's like a literal fact.
It's context that matters.
100%.
Bucks ran a lineup of Joe Ingles, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, Wesley Matthews, and Pat Connaughton, and they switched 1 through 5.
Yeah,
that's a lineup I like that. And then you picture substituting Jay Crowder for Joe Ingles in that situation. Then you have Drew Holiday, Jay Crowder, Wesley Matthews, Chris Middleton, and Pat Connaughton. Woo! I love that for defense. Celtics did finish the first quarter on a 13-4 run, so credit to them. Getting into the second quarter, love seeing the Chris Middleton to Giannis full court passes again. Oh, that makes me so happy. Chris Middleton. Full court passes to Giannis. I love seeing those. I love seeing that aspect of the game back in there. Javon Carter hit 3 threes in a row and was playing good defense. That's part of why he was my underrated performer for the week and the underrated performer of the game last night. Celtics made 9 of their first 20 3-pointers, and the Bucks were still keeping pace with it. The lead got cut to 2 with 2 minutes and 12 seconds. Bucks went on a 10-0 run to take a 1-point lead with 1 minute left. Despite Brook Lopez and Chris Middleton both having 3 fouls, Drew Holiday hit another 3 to give the Bucks 64-63 lead. After a super long 3-pointer by Drew Holiday, which was cool. James said he was watching the game at work on his phone. One of my coworkers who's a Grizzlies fan said, "How is this game close?" Hey, it happens. NBA games.
Why don't you just worry about John Morant and him talking out of his ass for no goddamn reason?
Yeah.
How about that?
So Drew Holiday, 15 points in the first half, 5 assists and 3 rebounds. Giannis had 14 points. Chris Middleton and Javon Carter each had 9 points, and Chris had 6 rebounds in the first half. Second half, Giannis struggling at the free throw line. Happens. There's going to be games once in a while where Giannis just has a really, really bad night at the free throw line. It happens. We just move on.
Yeah.
Brook Lopez got his 4th foul at the 9:16 mark in the third quarter. That's why we didn't see a lot of Brook Lopez towards the end of that game. He got really early 4th foul. And this is where I mentioned Isaac beat me to it a little bit, but Mike Muscala gets traded to the Celtics and he turns into Jason Tatum. Like, it was just whatever. The Bucks went through a little bit of a stretch where they were having some trouble getting some clean looks. The Celtics were making everything, whether they were open or not. And that's how a team with injured players can get to almost beating a team that's almost at full strength. And then turnovers, that's not helping. Drew Holiday was willing the Bucks back. The ball movement was great in the third quarter. Cut the lead to 6. The Bucks made a run, and then Drew Holiday hit that long 3-pointer to neutralize the Pritchard and 1 right before the end of the third quarter.
I mean, you play the Pistons, James.
So Bucks start the fourth quarter, 9-0 run to take a lead by 5. Giannis and Chris Middleton working together, tied the game with 8:46 left to go. Boston went on a 6-0 run after the Bucks took a 4-point lead, and then the game was tied with 8 minutes to go. Grayson Allen got switched on to Robert Williams and forced a missed jump hook. And the next possession, Grayson Allen was diving on the floor.
And that was a freaking foul that they missed, dude. That was a foul on Brogdon, dude. He was all over his back.
Just seeing Grayson Allen diving on the floor, that's effort. Love to see it. As I mentioned, Giannis was struggling at the free throw line that allowed Boston to get the lead back. Second chance points and a 3 by Drew Holiday got the lead back for the Bucks. Drew Holiday hit another 3. Bucks were up 6 with 3:57 to go. And then we got another 5-man lineup of Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, Wesley Matthews, Giannis, and Grayson Allen, and they were switching 1 through 5 on that. And then we get to, God, it's so annoying. Hauser, and I say good offense beats good defense every time I say it, but that was not good offense by Hauser to take 2 dribbles and like jack up a prayer 3 and it fucking goes in. I don't know what it is with the Hausers and playing against Wisconsin teams, but dude just chucks up a 3 and it goes in. And I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me that he hit that. It is what it is. You regroup, you go to overtime. Tim asked what service you use to watch the primetime games. I just used Spectrum. I was just watching on Spectrum. Isaac said the Lakers' MO is allowing nobody to go off like an all-star. I mean, it's different. The Bucks just bring out the competition in people. The Lakers are just bad on defense. So yeah, it's a little bit different.
I have YouTube TV, Tim. So YouTube TV is like $60 a month. It's not that bad.
Overtime. Celtics were absolutely targeting Joe Ingles. They knew the Bucks were switching everything, so they'd just run a couple screening, and then they'd have Derek White being guarded by Joe Ingles. Then they brought in Javon Carter, and that changed. Drew Holiday hit another three-pointer. He hit 8 threes last night. It was his career high. Gave him 40 points and gave the Bucks a 2-point lead. And then he got a steal. Now, Giannis struggled at the free throw line, and Isaac brought up, and I'm glad we got back to it, Isaac brought up fouling Giannis in the playoffs as a strategy. He gets it done when it matters. He made 7 of his 8 last free throw attempts last night. 7 of the last 8. And then he got an exclamation dunk to end the game. I mean, he makes them when they count. So if you want to follow in the playoffs when the games are the most critical, I mean, like he locks in at the most critical points of the game. I don't know what it is, but I'll take it because it means he's stepping up at the best times.
It's because he knows he's supposed to be the GOAT. So he's like, oh, shit, I forgot. I'm supposed to be the GOAT. I got to make all these free throws right now.
Giannis finished with 36, 13, 9, and 2 blocks. That is a monstrous stat line.
It is.
Drew Holiday finished with the 40 points. He had 7 assists and 5 rebounds. Grayson Allen had 13 points. Chris Middleton had 16 points and 11 rebounds. 4 of them are offensive rebounds. And then he had 4 assists in 25 minutes. So it seems like he's getting up a little bit more. So 25 minutes. Maybe he'll start the first game after the All-Star break. 8 missed free throws. Only 9 second chance points. So that's good. 27 points off turnovers for Boston.
Whew.
You want to know why this game was close? Points off turnovers. 27. That's how that game was close, James. Tyler, that's why this game was closer than you liked. 27 points off turnovers. That's 44 fundamental failure points. If I tell you that the Clippers and the Celtics games, the Bucks had 60 fundamental failure points combined, you split it in half, that's 30. That's great. But what you don't know is that it's 16 in one game and 44 in the other.
Yeah.
Oh, that's That's why I track what they do with turnovers.
A little tidbit. Drew became the 3rd Bucks player with 40 points and 8 3-pointers in a game.
Nice. Do you know who the other 2 are?
I know one of them is Michael Redd. I did not
The other
find
one got to be Ray Allen.
It got to be Ray Allen. I didn't find the other one, but I did know the other one was Michael Redd. Jake, are any of the games blacked out? The only thing that gets blacked out is when they put them on NBA TV. When the Bucks play on NBA TV, that's the only thing that gets blacked out. But all TNT, ESPN games, you get to watch those. And then obviously Bally. We don't have it, but I just bought a little thing for like $20 a month, $20 a month, and I got to watch all the games except the ones that are on TNT and ESPN, and I watch those ones. So it works out.
My last 2 stats. Drew Holiday, the last time he scored 40 points, December 27th, 2021.
Oh, shit.
You ready for this one?
Yeah.
Chris Middleton. Do you just want to take a stab at the last time he had 11 rebounds in a game?
Oh, boy. Got to be the finals. No? When was it?
Literally exactly 1 year ago. 2 Valentine's days in a row, Chris Middleton had 11 rebounds in a game.
We got to remember that because next year we got to pencil Middleton in for 11 rebounds
on Valentine's Day. I saw that and I'm like, damn, there's no way. He went exactly 1 year. That was the last time that he had 11 rebounds in a game.
That's a random stat.
But I found it. You got me. We love cool stats.
Ooh, what are you? Okay. You want me to read that, or you want to read
Isaac
that?
said 2 teams that might face the Bucks in the playoffs about to tip off, and the Sixers and Cavs. What do you think about those potential matchups against the Bucks? Philadelphia is the tougher of the 2, but I don't think either of them win a 7-game series. I don't think Cleveland goes past 5, and I don't think Philly goes past 6.
We're beating them both in 5. I think the Cavaliers. I don't want to say lack of size, but I just don't think they have enough size to mess with the Bucks.
I don't think they have enough strength, is what it is for me, because like they have Mobley and Allen, so like they have the size, but they don't have the thickness.
Yeah, I guess the Bucks kind of you know, like what they used to say about Dwayne Wade. Like Dwayne Wade was 6'4", but when he played in his prime, he felt like he was 6'8". You know what I mean? Like Giannis is 6'11", but it really feels like he's fucking 7'11", dude, because he's just dunking on everybody, right? That's kind of how it feels.
Sure. Philadelphia, you know, it's Embiid and Harden. They both shrink in the playoffs. Like neither of them have ever really done it. And the Bucks are deeper than both of those two teams, arguably combined.
I'd agree. I would agree also that the Sixers are better. I think both. If you combine those rosters, fuck, that'd be a great roster. That would be a roster that can compete with the Bucks, but separately, no. I think it's really the Bucks and the Celtics, man.
Yeah, I agree. I strongly agree. So is there anything else you want to say about this last week?
11 in a row is nice.
Yeah. 12 after tomorrow night. The Bucks only have one game between today and next Wednesday. They're at Chicago tomorrow night. So that's that. And other than that, we won't be back on a Friday night show until almost exactly a month from now when we start our draft coverage. So be on the lookout for that as well. Isaac said we need Jake's Giannis impression. All right, Jake, send us out on Giannis's impression. How would Giannis say goodbye?
Oh, God. I got put on the spot. Come on, man. Like, I stuck up for you, man. Like, this is crazy. God, I'm not doing it. I got nothing. I was about to go.
He's just going to start laughing every time he tries to do it.
Bill, that's all good, buddy. I hope everything's all good. Man, I was about to, but I can't, dude, because I'm just making myself laugh thinking how stupid I sound. Because I went back and listened, and it was bad.
That gives us a chance to remind, if you want to watch the show again, if you miss it live, you can watch it on YouTube, you can watch it on Facebook, or you can listen to it as you see it on the bottom. You can listen to it on the podcasting apps.
Yes.
Other than that, I will see you next Wednesday. Hopefully we're discussing some more wins.
Let's go.
All right. Thanks.